Making a BB-8 pumpkin. For this project, I bought one medium-sized pumpkin and one small pumpkin. I think it's called a pumpkin pie pumpkin. And everything I'm doing, I kind of like gauged and guesstimate, as I always do, by looking at a picture reference of BB-8. I guesstimated how big I should make the opening. I didn't want to make it too big, but I wanted it big enough so that I could scoop everything out and the head could fit perfectly on top. I used 2 of my rolls of tape to draw a perfect circle on the pumpkin. And again, I guesstimated where I should arrange everything. I used a smaller tape roll to fit the middle, and I'm using a marker, like a Crayola washable marker, to draw on it. I used the X-Acto knife to cut around the lines that I just made. Trying to carefully only carve the top layer was a little tedious and took a long time, so I'm just gonna speed up the rest of this process. Otherwise this would be a really long video. This tool that I'm using, I actually got it from like a kit that's actually used for ceramics. And I don't know if there's a different tool people use to only carve the top layer of the pumpkin, but this just worked out for me. I'm leaving this process here so that people can see how it looked when I just carved the top layer of the pumpkin. This was very time consuming, but also very satisfying. And then I started adding other little details, like the lines that kind of connect the circles. I then started drawing more details using my washable Crayola marker. I didn't draw everything all at once because it kept washing off because it is washable, so I decided to do it piece by piece, which made this process a little longer. I'm gonna speed up this process of me carving the top layer because it was pretty tedious and long, and I want y'all to still see the process. These two tools that I'm using for the holes, I got it from like a pumpkin carving set, but I don't know if I'm using it for its intended purpose, but it worked. Now I'm gonna get started on BB-8's head with this smaller pumpkin, the pumpkin pie pumpkin. I had to cut the bottom half so that it sits on top of the body that I just created. Using my BB-8 photo reference, I started drawing on the face, and I try to leave like this little spot where it makes it look like it's shiny, but it eventually came off. You'll notice that later in the video. And now I'm adding on more details on the top. This part was challenging because I'm trying to make it very thin, but not just a line across the head. I wanted it just wide enough where the light will shine through, but it was so narrow that I was afraid I was gonna like scratch up the rest of the top layer and it might end up looking too rugged, but I made it work. And just like I did on the body, I'm adding on details little by little because the marker kept wiping off. Plus, it was actually easier to just do a little bit of design at a time so I don't overdo it. And I actually kept myself from adding way more details, partly because it was too hard and partly because I still wanted it to look pretty clean. And the head is finally finished, so I'm gonna put it all together. Here's the body I made earlier, and I used toothpicks to stick them together, but before I did that I realized I needed to put in lights. So I have these lights that I got from Amazon. They have different effects like strobing effect, colorful effect, and white effects, and I put like a lot in there. I only shot myself putting 2, but I put probably like 6 or 7 to make it really bright. And that's it. That's how I made this BB-8 pumpkin carving. I hope you'll enjoy this, and thank you for watching.